Well, long story short, I was like, okay, well, let's just take a nap, because by the time we went to bed, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, let's get up at 8 o'clock and go straight into the vet. Let's just take a nap and get up. And that's what we did. She didn't make it. I woke up and she was dead. Well, we took her to the vet anyway to have an autopsy done, because I was like, I heard something and it better not be what I think it is. So we took her to the vet, and we're going to have an autopsy done and then have her cremated. Anyway, we had the autopsy done, and the vet determined that what he saw inside, she was healthy, good heart, good lungs, brain matter was like, you know, a little abnormal, but due to her age, that could have a factor to it. But when it got down to the intestinal and especially the kidneys, he said that there were signs of toxin buildup in her, and that one or two things would happen. It was either caused by renal failure or it was caused by old age. He said either one. But to me, his final thought was, with the food recall that just happened, I would say that it would have something to do with renal failure due to the food. And that really upset me. So anyway, I know that big long loop around put me on, I guess, a for naught quest of trying to get a little bit of justice out of it, to see what our government officials might actually do to back this up. Because after it was all said and done, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but America wasn't the only ones affected by this. It was North America, Europe, South Africa, parts of Canada. And Canada actually did research on this food in March 16th of 07, and they tested this food on animals, and the animals showed either sickness and or death whenever they tested this food on the lab animals. So I mean, it's ridiculous. And one of the little details it goes into right here, overall, several major companies have recalled more than 5,300 pet products. Now, that's not just, 5,300 of these. That's 5,300 name brands of products because of this particular, issue that happened. And the biggest thing that just amazed me is that the report of the deaths that happened were estimated now. This is a database that collected numbers, and I'm part of this database. 3,600 deaths as of 11 April of 07. And that's dogs. Okay? 8,500 animal deaths, including at least 1,950 cats. Alright? Government record database of all animal sickness or death in the United States as there are with humans. I don't know where that sentence was going. It's just like stuck in there like that. That's not even a proper sentence. But anyway, long story short, that's a lot of animals to be killed just here in America. This is an American report. That's not counting Europe's report, South Africa's report, and what other countries were affected by this. And the symptoms of this is kidney failure. The toxins can make the animal have loss of appetite, lethargy, depression, vomiting, diarrhea, all of the symptoms that Little Dog had, and that's what really triggered me to want to take her to the vet before I knew about this. And after the fact, I was like, that really makes me just sick to my stomach to imagine that there I am saying, here's your favorite flavor of food. She loved Old Roy bag food. She wouldn't eat anything else. Wouldn't eat dry food, wouldn't eat freaking pedigree. She would eat Old Roy. And I was poisoning my dog in front of me. Because most people feed their dog, go into another room. I didn't have that option. She ate literally, I was like, I'm sitting in front of this computer right now. She would sit like right here. That's how, close quarters in a freaking travel trailer it is. While my house is being rebuilt. And I'm sitting here watching her. I'm like, is it good, little dog? And she would look at me, lick her lips and all that. And I'm sitting there poisoning my own animal, and after the fact of seeing these reports, it was sickening to me. And to so many other, I'm sure to all of these animal owners out there, family member owners, dependents of their human companions, whether it be cats, dogs, or whatever, that nothing was ever done about it. It was just swept under the rug. The media didn't cover it but like twice. They did the report that I heard, then they did a follow-up, then it was like, oh well. And let's see. There were even more. There were more animals. The estimated, the estimated amount was about 100,000 cats that got sick from this. Okay, the vet saw that many cats that came in for symptoms. Same symptoms I just named off. That's number one. All right. Now, the thing that made me want to actually post this video, and it was kind of strange that this morning, as soon as I turned on the TV, the headline news for the area that I live, which is the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and it affected, all the way from, I'm sure, all the way from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, because mainly they were focusing on Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida about this next subject, which is the sheetrock recall. And there's details, they don't have details, but there's, action about, they're going to do a class action lawsuit, do all this, if you have sheetrock made in China. And this is something I've asked several people about, just friends of mine saying, hey, did you hear about that sheetrock recall? And they're like, what sheetrock recall? What are you talking about? I was like, man, you must not watch the news. Well, sometimes it's good to have your TV off in the background. That's usually what I do. I'll have the news or the Weather Channel or whatever just off in the background just to, pick up on little tidbits, and I hear something that's may affect me. Hey, turn that shit up. So anyway, the sheetrock, for those of you who don't know, in 2005, we had a little thing called Hurricane Katrina come through the Gulf of Mexico and wipe out pretty much everybody that was around here south of I-10 and Highway 90. From Florida all the way over to probably the Texas coast. And I happen to live on the upper right quadrant. So we got pretty much destroyed. As you probably have seen the video footage of me showing some of the aftermath of that this past year. So when I heard about this, I was like, what the hell? And the news actually said, well, you worried about the formaldehyde issue that you had in your travel trailers, and that's a totally different subject altogether. And come to find out that product was made where? China. Well, here, now we have a scare of possible homes that have been rebuilt with tainted sheetrock. Now, let me explain how this thing works, and then I'll go back into what the news story says. Sheetrock is a product made of gypsum, a mineral found in the ground. Because of the shortage of sheetrock during the building boom of 2004 to 2006, which happened to be one of the busiest hurricane seasons on record, home improvement suppliers looked to China to supply their customers with sheetrock. Toxic to copper, this sheetrock appears to emit sulfur gases that can damage air conditioning coils, electrical plumbing, components, and other materials. This drywall has actually corroded air conditioning and refrigeration coils, microwaves, computer wirings, faucets, and copper tubing. Now, my first question is, just going out on this limb, what the hell are you putting sulfur in sheetrock? That's not part of the process. I mean, what are these people thinking? It's like, okay, well, we couldn't get their attention by killing our animals. We couldn't get their attention by having all these massive toy and crib and cradle, and we'll get into that a little bit later because that lists skill saws and all this other crap. Couldn't get their attention, so let's just fuck them in the ass and kill them where they live. Because most of the houses, where I live anyway, the inside of them is drywall or sheetrock. Now, luckily, after hearing this news report, so far, I haven't found any sheetrock that says made in China. Because understand, with this particular issue, it's not just the fact of a batch. Okay, well, it went out, you know, Julian date 11L72, whatever, which was this time and this time. No, it was all of it. So everybody who has drywall or sheetrock homes built from the year 2004 to 2006 needs to be looking on the backside of some sheetrock, getting up in the attic or busting a hole in the wall or something, and checking to see where your sheetrock was made. Because this right here is serious. And here's the thing that I'm really getting at. When's enough enough? You know, how far do they have to take it before action is taken?